I didn't expect this to hit me so hard. Jack Osbourne finally spoke after laying his dad Ozzy to rest, and you can hear the weight in every word. I'm Sarah Reed, and when I watched Jack gather himself and say, "I'm proud to be his son," I felt that in my bones. This isn't just celebrity news. This is a family losing its anchor, and a world losing the voice that helped invent heavy metal. You could almost hear the first riff of Iron Man hum under his voice. Here's what we're doing today. I'm taking you inside Jack's emotional tribute, what he remembered, how he honored Ozzy in those first days, and how the Osbournes are holding each other up. We'll flash back to Ozzy's rise, from Black Sabbath's birth of heavy metal to Crazy Train blasting out of stadiums, and then walk through those final powerful weeks. The last concert, the sudden goodbye, and that New Orleans-style farewell in Birmingham. Quick question for you. Where were you the first time you heard Crazy Train? Drop it in the comments. The stories I've seen already are beautiful. Okay, deep breath. Let's step into Jack's moment and the legacy behind it. This is Golden American Legends, and today we're celebrating a giant through the eyes of his son. I always say, if you want to understand modern rock, start in Birmingham in the early 70s. That's where a young Ozzy Osbourne stood at a mic with Black Sabbath and helped summon heavy metal out of thin air. Paranoid, War Pigs, Iron Man, those weren't just songs, they were blueprints. He became the Prince of Darkness, the Godfather of Heavy Metal, and somehow also the funny, grumbling dad we met later on the Osbournes. Only Ozzy could be both thunder and a punchline, and make it all feel human. Ozzy's solo run lit another fuse, Blizzard of Oz in 1980, and boom, Crazy Train. I still remember hearing that opening guitar line the first time, like a roller coaster climbing the track. He made metal bigger, weirder, more global, and then he crossed into mainstream culture without losing himself. That balance is why his death felt so personal to so many. We didn't just lose a sound. We lost a character we all knew. That's the shadow and the shelter Jack grew up inside. When he speaks now, he's not just talking about a legend. He's talking about his dad, who also happened to change music forever. Hold that thought because it makes his tribute land even harder. Here's the part that gave me chills. Weeks before he died, Ozzy took the stage one last time, July 5th, 2025, back home in Birmingham with Black Sabbath. Friends from Metallica to Guns N' Roses circled in with tributes. People worried about his health. He'd fought Parkinson's and emphysema for years, but that night he sounded strong. You could feel the pride in the room. He wanted to go out on a high note, and he did. 17 days later, July 22nd, he was gone at 76. Reports said it was a heart attack. The shock of that timeline, powerhouse one night, silence the next, hit fans and family like a wave. Producers like Andrew Watt posted about how lucky they felt to share a piece of Ozzy's magic. Guitar heroes lit up social feeds, and everywhere, someone pressed play on Crazy Train and turned it up just a little too loud. For Jack, that final show must now sit like a bright lighthouse in a storm. One last roar from the man he called Dad. Keep that light in mind as we step into Birmingham's farewell, where grief and celebration walked side by side. I love when a city shows up. On July 30th, Birmingham lined the streets for Ozzy with a brass band leading the cortege like a New Orleans parade. It wasn't quiet. It was alive. Fans chanted Ozzy and lifted his songs into the sky. The family car paused at the Black Sabbath bench, and Sharon, Kelly, and Jack took in the flowers and the cheers. That moment said, this is a goodbye he would have loved. What struck me most was the unity. Amy, the more private sister, joined the family. Jack later shared that he and Amy had been distant, but the funeral brought them back together. Grief has a way of putting the real things in front of you: love, memory, forgiveness. I pictured Jack standing there hearing a horn line bend into Paranoid and thinking, yep, that's him. Loud, joyful, a little defiant. It felt less like an ending and more like a passing of the torch. The crowd carried the music. The family carried the man. And then, finally, Jack found his voice. I didn't expect his honesty to land like that. When Jack broke his silence after the funeral, he talked about pride first. Proud to be Ozzy's son. Proud of how fiercely fans loved his dad. He didn't dwell in the dark. He reached for celebration. Stories of Ozzy's eccentric charm, his humor at home, and the way he could turn even a rough day into a laugh. You could hear a son trying to hold on to the sound of his father's voice. He also opened the door on family. He admitted he and Amy had practically no relationship for years, but the funeral helped them reconnect. That's big. That's brave. In grief, the Osbournes chose grace, and in the days after, Jack honored Ozzy the way Ozzy would have wanted, by keeping it creative, by showing up for fans, and by lifting the legend. Kelly's cheeky floral tribute added that classic Osbourne wink, and Jack echoed it with gratitude and stories. Here's my favorite image. Jack as a kid, side stage, watching his dad launch into Crazy Train, feeling the stage shake, and now, as a man, telling the world, my dad gave us joy. That's a legacy you can live inside. What's one Ozzy lyric that always sticks with you? Tell me below. The ripple since Jack spoke has been huge. Fans keep gathering, singing Iron Man at benches, leaving notes in vinyl sleeves, blasting Crazy Train out of car windows like it's a right. Rock royalty keep weighing in, calling Ozzy what he was, a pioneer, a North Star, a one of one. I've seen everyone from metal titans to pop icons sharing memories. That cross-genre love is rare. It means the art got bigger than the box it came in. But Jack's tribute does something different. It gives all that noise a heart. It tells us the Prince of Darkness was also a dad who cracked jokes in the kitchen, who showed up, who fought to keep performing even when his body said no. That human piece helps fans move from shock to gratitude. It lets the music feel like a reunion, not a requiem. Here at Golden American Legends, that's what we honor, the way culture and family braid together. And in the Osbourne story, that braid is strong. Keep singing. Keep telling the stories. That's how legends stay loud. Here's where I land. Jack's words didn't just close a chapter, they opened a door. They invite us to remember Ozzy fully. The thunder on stage, the warmth at home, the humor on TV, the courage in those final weeks. If this video gave you a little comfort or a reason to hit play on Blizzard of Oz, drop a like and share it with someone who loved his music. I'm Sarah Reed, and this is Golden American Legends. We make history feel alive because it is, especially when a son steps up and says, "This is who my dad was." Subscribe for more stories like this, the kind that mix goosebumps with heart. And tell me, which Ozzy era is your favorite, Sabbath or solo? I'm genuinely curious. Thanks for watching and for keeping the music loud, proud, and human. See you in the next one.